I sat in a bedroom for 10 months, just closed myself in, and it was a really miserable period, and I really had no desire to do anything.
A tragic comedy ensued in me. I never knew what good could be.
I just kind of left town without a word. I went back to Akron, Ohio, my home, and stayed there for 3 months, and then all these people in Los Angeles seemed to really welcome me with open arms, and I just bought a one-way ticket out there and packed a few bags.
The streets were lit up with hopes and dreams, made me devise another scheme.
I just felt like, well, I'm just going to get a new lineup for the chamber strings. The one time I did it with a full band, I was disgusted. I immediately wanted to get things back together, but I don't think they really wanted to have anything to do with me. They saw the guy that they knew was their friend, and their band leader just changed into this completely different person.
I come apart now, can't you see?
I played solo acoustic shows out there. I did like a 3-hour acoustic show at Spaceland in LA. I just kept playing, you know. I don't know if they wanted me to carry on or stop. I just kept playing.
I watched him struggle, then he broke free, just like the man I used to be.
I finally decided to go into rehab. End of 2002, I go in and I get clean. I come out and like all of a sudden I come out of this fog, and I'm like, oh my God, what on earth happened, you know? I never wanted to be that way in the first place. I certainly didn't think there was anything cool about it. I was always trying to hide it from people. But the thing was, I was just all alone out there in LA, and I just kept hitting rock bottom after rock bottom. I started getting arrested for drugs, and I kept going back to rehab, and then they would basically just like let me out loose on the street. I had no money, nowhere to go, and I was completely alone. And so when they would let me out of rehab, you know, the first thing I would do was just go back and pick up the needle again. It got to the point where I didn't have any more couches to sleep on, and I went to downtown LA Skid Row district, where you could get a bag of heroin for $5 and you could buy crack cocaine for $5. And I just completely forgot who I was.
I hit the pavement, got down on my knees, God and His mercy shine on me.
Every night I got my bed out of a garbage dumpster, and I slept on the street. I was just walking around with nothing but the clothes on my back. I kept getting picked up and getting thrown in jail. Things just went from bad to worse, and worse to worse to worse to worse to worse.
Things come apart so easily.
One day I couldn't get off the ground. There's a man called Moses Banks who was out there. He had been out there for a couple of years, and he's about a 60-year-old old black guy who was my only friend out there, and we looked out for each other. And one day I just couldn't get up off the ground. I couldn't move anything. I was in an enormous amount of pain, and I waited all day for him to find me. And he picked me up and carried me to the bus, and you know, had to beg people for money to get us bus fare, and he took me to the hospital. And it turned out when I got there, they said I had an endocarditis, which is an infection on your heart valve, which basically comes from shooting bad dope that has bacteria in it.
in my condition. You made up my decision, sickest thing I ever saw. And now I'm strapped to a hospital bed. You nearly left me for dead. You nearly left me for dead.
They said if I hadn't gotten in there within 24 hours, I would have been a dead man. Of course, I tried to leave. They made me sign a thing when I was trying to leave, like a disclaimer, like saying if you leave this building, you are most likely going to die within the next 24 hours. And I tried to leave, and I fell on my face on the front stairs of the hospital, and they picked me up and took me back in there.
To be with you, doomed without you, doomed without you, doomed with you. I'm doomed without you.
I went in the hospital. After being in there 6 weeks, I decided I had to get out of LA. I went back to Akron, Ohio for a while. And, you know, I tried to stay clean. I always tried. I don't know how many times I relapsed. And of course I found the dealer in Akron, Ohio.
I'm
Through this entire thing, I'd been writing the next chamber strings record. Basically, when I would go into rehab and like get clean for a little while, I would start writing songs. There was like a hotel lobby and there was a piano in there, and I would go in there and start writing songs. My notebooks kept getting stolen, because everything was getting stolen, but I kept retaining it up here.
Can't stand a vulture, fell but I caught you. Got so tired and we all knew. Last time to tango, I'm going solo, but we all know that it takes two.
Nikki Sudden called me and asked me to come to Berlin and start touring and living over there, and so I did that. I spent a year over in Europe, and I spent 3/4 of that based in Berlin. Nikki and I would go out and I would play a solo set, and then I would play guitar for him for his set. We toured Italy, Germany, Belgium, just all over Europe. That was starting to bring me back to life. However, I fucking based myself in the heroin capital of the world, Berlin, and it was impossible to escape it there. So I found myself right back in the thick of it again. Being with Nikki, you know, we were just both such bad influences on each other. We loved each other like brothers, had great times, but we also fought like brothers. We were fighting over fucking bags of heroin. We finished touring and I had to get out. I had to get out of Berlin, so I moved over to London.
I'm doomed without you. We never had ourselves a home. Our friends don't want us no more.
When I got to London, immediately I found the spot to buy drugs. And all my friends from the past are kind of gone. dead or have moved on to a different life. I was tired, I was sick of this life. My arms just looked like they'd been through a meat grinder. My skin was just pasty, and I was just the worst wreck you could ever imagine.
I want that time again. Ooh.
I found a kindred spirit in a friend of Nikki's, a writer named Robert Deller, who put me up in his house. He was very, very encouraging. And I had another friend, Paul Caton, and they were just like, you have to do this, you have to get better.
Ooh, try again. No. Ooh.
I found a doctor who could help me. She got me set up and she got me rolling and she got me well. My friend Robert funded it for me, gave me emotional support, and Paul Caton gave me emotional support as well. And then I found myself clean again. I was ready, you know, all of a sudden I put it down and I said, I'm never picking this stuff up again.
I want that time again. Ooh, this time again.
The whole time I was just kept saying, like, you know, I miss Tim and Anthony and Carolyn and Jason so much, and I'm gonna go back to Chicago and give it a try.
Ooh, try